right? Stress reinforces, all right, or basically discredits that purpose. When stress gets way, way up here, we question whether or not we want to be there. And what do we have to fall onto? We fall onto that process. So in the tactical community, the law enforcement community, the business world, the sports, it's repetition with purpose. It's repetition with purpose under great stress. And that is what people have a hard time dealing with, is like, listen, if you really want to be successful, because we get so focused on the result. That's all we see. We forget what it takes to get there. Like we think that success is happenstantial, right? A successful baseball player, football player, executive, whatever it is. We're like, well, certainly, like it's God-given talent. Certainly that's a component of it. But let's not discredit all the really super unsexy hard work that it took to get there, right? We see sport as home runs and touchdowns and see SEALs as this amazing, superhuman, whatever. But I'm here to tell you, I spent 308 days a year for 10 years away from my family and friends, training and deploying. That's what I averaged over 10 years. A lot. I was gone a lot. I have 3 million frequent flyer miles. And that's not counting the military air travel. Okay, so purpose, we have process. 3, which I think is the glue to it all. And by no means am I a romance novelist or anything like that. It's love, right? I'm not here to beat my chest. I'm certainly not, that's not my type. I spent a lot of my time being angry with my world, and it was exhausting. Really exhausting. What I have found in those times, when my purpose got really tested, and that process got a little bit sketchy because friends of mine died, a close friend of mine just died. When those things are tested, your purpose and your process are tested, we have love to follow. Love is what supports it. Love is what pulls us up when things are terrible. And if you're lacking that, again, we're spinning our wheels a lot with purpose and our process. But here's the unique side is like, if we're so rigid on our purpose and our process, and even our love, are willing to love ourselves and others and our country and our brothers and so forth. The other side of love is humanity. Okay? It's very unforgiving. It's always changing. And if we're so rigid and unwilling to bend and manipulate our process and purpose, then also understand this. What gets us there being success, won't always keep us there. And what gets us to be successful as a young SEAL, young businessman, young athlete, is got to evolve. It has to evolve. We have to understand that when things get bad, we're not going to throw our process out the window. We just may have to evolve it. Okay, in 2007 of February, my son was born. And I will say that it's the most important thing in my life. He, by far, is the most important thing in my life. Nothing's even close. I have a new purpose. Being a parent wasn't scary because I knew that my parents raised me a certain way. I have my process. I know what it takes to raise a good person. So I had that. A year later, I was out of the Navy. Or I'm sorry. I exited the Navy in 2013. My son wasn't. He was born in 2007. I understand the math difference here. So, a year out of the Navy, I want to spend more time with my son and get out. That's why I got out. Primarily, that's why I got out. I was a little bit lost, right? The community that I love, that I gave my life to, gave me a lot of direction. Maybe someone even say it gave me a little bit of identity. Needed to find a new purpose. So, fast forward a little bit, my business partner and I, best friend, he's the closest thing I have family who's not family. I was a strength coach prior coming into the Navy. And I started working with young athletes to help them develop as a young, good person, not just an athlete. And it gave me a lot of purpose, right? Then what's the next step? Process. I worked my tail off of making sure I gave them everything that I give the professional athletes that I work with. Kids deserve it, right? Then you fast forward a year later. Don't get me wrong, I loved what I do. I was loving what I was doing, but I still wasn't being fulfilled. One of my closest friends is Morgan Luttrell. And I was in his wedding, sitting across from him at dinner, and he goes, "Hey, listen, happenstantially, I guess, maybe, there's a big naval hospital in Virginia Beach where I live, and I was getting a lot of wounded veterans that I was working with pro bono happily, and getting a lot of really good positive results working with them, a lot of catastrophic injury." And Morgan was sitting across from me and said, "Hey, I got some veterans I want you to take a look at and take care of." And without question, yes. And so it was a business decision, but it was an emotional decision. And when my business partner and I started receiving these catastrophically wounded veterans, it gave me purpose. But more importantly, it's the mechanism of how I got purpose, a new purpose. I realized, because the majority of these men and women that we receive were from Special Forces community, the Marine Corps, Navy, Army, and so forth. And like me, that community gave them some identity, a lot of identity, and that was removed because of injury. It wasn't under their terms. I left under my own terms. And being able to take these individuals and help them, not create it for them, help them find purpose. I can tell you there's nothing in the world I love more than that other than my son. Because I am able to work with them, my business partner, my employees, my staff, I don't know mine, but they're our team, just like what I came from. The value of giving somebody, helping somebody find purpose. So again, we can talk about purpose, process, and love, right, in what we do in ourselves. But when you are able to give that to somebody else, there is nothing in this world better. Nothing. And if you can help them find purpose, you can help them find a process, not creating it for them, you're going to see a love, especially that bond. Because for those of you that aren't veterans, this is not me saying that you never experience that within the veteran community. It's something that you hold dear and love, family and your friends, right? When a family member or friend is in need, that's what we do. We envelop them in our tribe. So above all else, there is nothing that my community, my former community that I love, does better than anybody else in the world. Find a purpose. And when you find that purpose, you spend every day focusing on it. If it changes, change with it. And that changes through that process. It's going to get tough. It's going to get tested. It's going to get challenged. And when it does, the only thing we've got is love. Thank you.